At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce some of our former interns. They have just graduated from high school. We have from Hialeah Garden Senior High, Jordan Bryant, from William H. Turner Tech Senior High, UD Joseph, and from Coral Gables Senior High, Katie Rogers. One second. At this time, I'm going to ask Jordan Bryant to just give you give us a few words about her internship experience last year.
Hey guys, I did an internship at a place called Jennifer's Homemade, which is a bakery basically, and she sells breadsticks and flatbreads to storefronts, and you can find her in places like Publix, Walmart, Whole Foods. So I mainly worked in the bakery, mainly behind the scenes, and we did a lot of food prep and a lot of dough prep, a lot of things dealing with food, as well as marketing with business.
Thank you, Jordan. And Yudi?
For the summer of my sophomore year, I did my internship at Nick's Photo Studios. It's the company that works with the schools so you can take your senior pictures, cap and gown, and stuff like that. I worked with stuff like Photoshop, and I helped in the back with processing the photos. For my junior year, I interned at the Startup Life LLC. It is a e-commerce retailer, and I helped with the blogs, and I interviewed nurses. And yeah, I just worked with the nurses on there.
Thank you, Yudi. And now for Katie.
Hi, my name is Katie Rogers, and I interned at the Center for Financial Training in the Southeastern area. It was a virtual internship, but with the Center for Financial Training, their main goal is to offer educational programs for people in the financial world. So it's to train people in order to earn a promotion, or if they wanted to learn something about different financial areas. They have everything from accounting to business management. And so I worked with my supervisor I helped her with other internships that they provided, such as Bankers Camp, and also I just helped them regulate programs that they offer.
Thank you. And now we'll start with Jordan, but each of you I'm going to ask, what surprised you the most about your internship experience?
So I worked, as I said, Jennifer's Homemade, which is a bakery, and I have to say, I think the thing that surprised me the most was the impact that COVID had on the food industry. We had to follow a lot of regulations because I know a lot of people didn't necessarily have in-person internships, but I did. A lot of them were remote. And because it was in person, we had to follow a lot of guidelines. We couldn't be close to each other at all. We all had to space out across this small space to make hundreds of breadsticks every day, which was kind of stressful for the boss. I could tell after watching her name's Jennifer Bahar, and after watching her tell us constantly that we have to separate because it's a lot because you can't really talk to anybody if they're like all the way across. It's hard to interact with people. It's hard just in terms of teamwork, especially when you have to work with people to get a job done and you have to distance from them at the same time. Not to mention, there was also, you had to wear a mask, you had to wear face shields so you wouldn't contaminate the food. So I think the impact that the whole entire pandemic had on the food industry was the most interesting thing to watch.
Thank you, Jordan. And same question to you, Yudi.
What surprised me the most about my internship was just how easy the process was and how valuable an internship is post high school. Most students don't get a chance to have one, a paid one at that. Having an internship under your belt can help you with your career journey, and it gives you a leg up with on the job experience. I understand last year, we had COVID and it was hard, to connect with your advisors and your managers, but with, if you just focus on it, it's gonna be good at the end of the day.
And Katie?
I think what surprised me the most was, despite the fact that my internship was virtual, it was so comprehensive. I feel like I was there in person. The sense of community that my supervisor offered was so strong. Every morning we would communicate with each other. A lot of our projects were collaborative, so it didn't feel lonely, even though I was at home. It did very much feel like an in-person internship.
Thank you. So what do you wish you knew before you started? So 1 year ago exactly, what would you like to know that you didn't know? Jordan, we'll start with you again.
I wish I would have known about teamwork skills because I'm used to working with people. I've worked with a lot of people, especially at school, but mainly for school projects, not to get a certain amount of a shipment done by a certain deadline. I wasn't necessarily ready for that, and I'm best working by myself. So when I work with other people, it took me some time to get used to that, I have to admit. But over time, I definitely got used to it. I understood how each of them worked. I understood how I could work with them personally. So I think teamwork skills was something that I wish I had understood before I got to Jennifer's Homemade, because it took some time for me to develop those skills.
Yeah, group projects are not something that ends with school. That continues on through your career. So, and Yudi, what do you have to say about that?
So I can't really think of anything I wish I knew because most of my questions were answered in the pre-internship course. When you're in the internship, you're gonna have to take a pre-internship course. I also had a great advisor at my school that helped me with the process. If you have any questions, you could ask your internship manager or your internship advisor.
And Katie?
I think what surprised me the most was how structured my day was. A lot of the projects we weren't able to complete in one day, so a lot of times you have to carry it through the next day, and there was always a strict routine to follow. We helped the bankers camp from 9 to 9:30, and then from 9:30 to 3:30 we would kind of work on our own thing. And I guess it just surprised me how structured the day was.
Thank you. All right. And last question, words of advice for our new incoming interns. They start on July 1st, so it's just a few days away. So this time I'll start with Katie. We'll go backwards.
I think the biggest thing for me is don't be afraid to reach out to your supervisor. I know you may feel very nervous because you're only in high school, but they are there to help you. I think the biggest thing for me was if I was confused or maybe I needed a little bit more help on a project, I was a little bit timid to ask even my coworkers or my supervisor, but really reach out. They are there to help you. Take advantage of every opportunity they give you.
Okay. Yudi?
So please don't treat this internship as you just going to a job and getting paid after. I understand we're still in a pandemic, but you can still connect and network with your manager. Milk this experience of every opportunity and connection. I still keep in contact with both of my previous internship managers. They have helped me with my resume and also gave me recommendations for scholarships I applied to.
Good advice. And Jordan?
I'll just mainly piggyback off what both of them said. It really is all a learning experience. And hey, if you end up not liking whatever you're doing, now you know what you don't want to do in the future. So if anything, the internship really helps you narrow down what exactly you like. For example, I had to stay up on my feet a lot, and I didn't necessarily like that. I liked being up on my feet, but there were times I wanted to sit down. So you definitely have to realize that it's all learning experience. And you should definitely talk to your coworkers. You never know who you're gonna meet. Like for example, I found out one of my coworkers was a financial advisor, and then another one runs a nonprofit that I actually worked with during my school. So it all depends on who you meet and just making those connections.
Really great advice. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning and sharing your experiences and giving some advice to our new students. We wish you the best of luck. Congratulations on graduating. I do have to add a correction. Katie, I listed you as Coral Gables, but I believe you graduated from Coral Reef. I apologize. So again, congratulations, guys, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you for having us.
No problem.